Whitney told A Current Affair that they hit it off right away. She described him as being sensitive, kind, and warm. She also said he was a gentleman and he took care of her while on set. During their days off, they would take their scripts and practice their scenes together. They also talked about their upbringings and realized they had a lot in common. They were both raised in the Baptist church and they shared a love for music. After they finished filming, Whitney had to leave to go tend to her singing career. They had to use her stunt double to pose for the iconic image of Kevin carrying Rachel with her head buried in his shoulder. Kevin's marriage to Cindy was hanging on by a thread by that point, and Whitney had her heart set on being with Bobby Brown. However, an insider told Radar Online that Kevin and Whitney might have had some type of encounter while filming, but Whitney stuck a fork in their relationship after filming wrapped. Whitney and Bobby tied the knot in July 1992, and in November of that same year, the movie and the lead song, I Will Always Love You, which was performed by Whitney, was released. The Bodyguard grossed over $400 million worldwide, and the soundtrack took home multiple awards. While promoting the film, Kevin didn't hold back when it came to praising Whitney, her talents, and her beauty. But Whitney would redirect any and all questions that would be disrespectful to her new husband.
Do I agree that Kevin's the sexiest man in the world? God. Now, I believe that Bobby's the sexiest man in the world. Cindy Costner, she'll tell you if Kevin's the sexiest man in the world.
As the years passed by, they continued to speak fondly of their time on set together. Kevin more so than Whitney. And he wasn't the only one who was intrigued by her. He told Jimmy Kimmel that Stephen Hawking had an entourage of about 10 people that showed up at his home unexpectedly. Kevin said it took Stephen a while to finally explain the reason for his visit. Finally, Stephen said,
"I'd like to know about Whitney Houston."
Kevin looked at him and replied, "You're not the only one, Steve." As Kevin continued making films, he watched from a distance as Whitney faced her battles with addiction. Although he was able to hold her hand during the filming of The Bodyguard, he expressed regret for being unable to hold her hand through her personal struggles. When Whitney released her 2009 album, I Look to You, after a 7-year hiatus, no one was more pleased than Kevin. He told ABC News, "I knew this day was coming for her because she's too strong, too smart, too talented, and she has so much residual love out there that people have for her." But as the years passed by, Kevin was contacted by people close to Whitney who were in need of his help. He told CBS News that he was asked to write her letters in hopes that his words would encourage her to make some changes. He sent 2 to 3 letters in total. Kevin added, "I never heard back. I was told that she got them, but she went away." Whitney drowned in a bathtub at the Beverly Hills Hotel on February 11, 2012, and was pronounced deceased at the age of 48. Kevin was celebrating his son's birthday when someone told him the news. He was devastated. His friend was videotaping the party, and Kevin told him, "Come down to the back of the house and just put the camera on." Kevin then let it all out and started talking to the camera about Whitney. When he was done, he put on a brave face and returned to the party. He admits he has no idea where the footage is, and he never rewatched it. It was just a therapeutic moment that allowed him to release his feelings. As the news of her passing flooded headlines, Whitney's family contacted him and asked if he'd speak at her homegoing, since they knew how much they meant to each other. He didn't hesitate to get on the first thing smoking to travel out to New Jersey, where the service was being held. He also brought along his second wife, Christine Baumgartner. He told Parade magazine that he wrote the eulogy on the plane, in the limo, and while in bed. It was very important for him to say the right thing and in the right way.
"You weren't just pretty. You were as beautiful as a woman could be. And people didn't just like you, Whitney. They loved you."
3 years after Whitney's passing, her daughter, Bobby Christina, was in a similar situation as her deceased mom when she was discovered unresponsive in a bathtub. Bobby Christina was revived on scene by local medical officials before being taken to a Roswell, Georgia hospital. Kevin expressed his sympathy for the family and acknowledged the immense stress they were under. He admitted that he hadn't spoken to Bobby Christina in a while, but wished her the best and hoped she would have a second chance at life. Sadly, after being in a coma for nearly 6 months, she passed away on July 26, 2015, at the age of 22. In 2021, it was announced that a remake of The Bodyguard was in the works. The screenwriter Matthew Lopez expressed his desire to cast a Latina as Rachel. Variety magazine initially reported that Cardi B and Tessa Thompson were suggested for the film to star alongside either Channing Tatum or Chris Hemsworth as Frank Farmer. There was outrage from fans who thought the original film was good enough and didn't need to be remade. Even Whitney's ex-husband Bobby said a remake is completely unnecessary. Sometimes it's just best to leave classic films alone. Although we may never know the true extent of Kevin and Whitney's friendship, they clearly shared a special bond during their time together. And while it is impossible to quantify the depths of someone's feelings, Kevin's actions